Welcome to MDMC's live interview with Stephanie Garcia. Stephanie is one of our speakers, one of our keynotes at MDMC, and we're really thrilled to have her here. Stephanie, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited. Another MDMC event.
Yay! Many years running for both of us.
Yeah.
So Stephanie is doing a keynote called Unknown to Unforgettable, the art and science to being irresistible on camera videos and making them more engaging, more memorable, more popular than any other type of content out there. That's why it's estimated that 82% of consumer traffic will come from video by 2025. Holy moly ravioli. That is a big number. We've seen the come and go of many platforms. We've seen live streaming turning into just a video boom, whether it is live video or not. We've seen people utilizing video in all sorts of ways, from professional studios to their making a video from their laundry room or their kitchen or walking down the street. And as you said, there is no denying the importance of video now and in the future. So let's dive into it. So what inspires you to talk about not just video, but the art and science of being irresistible on camera?
I love this question mainly because oftentimes when I'm working with clients come into the studio or I come on site and they're like, but I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to say. And I find that oftentimes it's not necessarily about the camera gear, the lighting, the microphone, or any of that stuff. It's really the mindset that comes along with it. And I find that once you actually get your clients to be comfortable and confident on camera, that confidence actually extends beyond the camera into all areas and facets of their life. And that's why I really wanted to bring this topic to MDMC to really talk about, like, yes, it is video, but underneath it all, if you could communicate with confidence, then clients are going to be confident that you could get them results. And that's why I wanted to bring that to the table.
Going back to early adulthood, it's not so much what you major in university anymore, and lots of people are not even going to university. It's about being able to think and being able to read and write and articulate and communicate your message, and being able to do it on video is all the more popular for sure. So can you share, maybe if you would, a little sneak peek, possibly pull back the curtain a little bit? Why do we all want to go to your talk? What are some takeaways?
Well, it's one of those things where I feel like oftentimes people think that they have to be born with it, born with confidence, or born as an extrovert in order to be successful on camera. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about during my session, is really actually there is an art and a science to it. And when you actually understand the science behind it, there's little certain things that you can make yourself to be much more comfortable on camera. And there's also this one very special trick that you can do, so that way you could easily charm and disarm your audiences. That way they're much more open to what it is that you have to say. They don't feel like you're trying to sell them.
Sounds like really anybody can do this.
Anyone can do this. And I think oftentimes you just need like a little pointers here and there, and you don't have to do all of it. Maybe there's one that you just want to tweak just a little bit. And sometimes that's just the difference that makes the difference. I think clients oftentimes, they're just way too hard on themselves, thinking like, oh, I should know this. But let's be honest, actors still get trained and professional training to hone their skills. Writers, bloggers, podcasters, we still go to conferences and events to really understand how can I really hone in my craft? And if you speaking on camera is something that you want to do, then this is your opportunity to learn just kind of like the unconscious tricks that we take with us whenever we jump on camera.
Absolutely. And what if they're new to camera? Their first thing when they wake up in the morning is not thinking about turning on that phone and talking into it. What if that's not part of their history?
Of their day-to-day, like I think even if you don't plan on being on camera, the skill set that you're going to learn in my session, you can carry with you, whether, you're like me, you have a little daughter and you have to instill confidence in her. It's kind of like, how do you become confident in all areas, in all aspects of your life, and how it translates to how you communicate on camera, in person, face to face, on a podcast. There's just so much that you can do. And I think oftentimes people try to look for confidence externally, like they go to the mall or they go on Amazon thinking like, today I'm going to buy confidence. And really, confidence is something that you find within you. And the recipe of what makes you confident is very different from how I prepare myself to, hang out with Bonnie and how Bonnie hops onto the show. We have two very different strategies, and that's okay. I feel like sometimes people think that they have to follow someone's very specific formula, and we're not all like that.
So it's not like, a 5-step, do these 5 steps, and then you will be confident on camera.
Yeah, and then you're going to be absolutely amazing. It's more of like, you have to understand what motivates you and how you become confident, because I'll always tell people, marketing will never fix a flawed mindset. And I don't care how much budget you've spent on your microphone or your camera. If you come off as like, oh, I'm just going to fake it until I make it, studies have shown that people know exactly when you're faking it. And in today's world, we're looking for authenticity and transparency. And so if you could communicate in such a way that really shows your essence of who you are as a human being and it doesn't feel forced, then people are going to be really open to learning about what it is that you have to offer.
And when you're talking about being irresistible on camera, what does that mean as opposed to being really good on camera?
I think irresistible is really more like people really want to get to know you. It's one of those things where you're competing with other content in their newsfeed, whether it's a carousel or a story and all this other stuff. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, I want to hear what Bonnie has to say, because Bonnie, I know that she's going to give it to me clear and cut and just like, here it is. And I love that about her. And I think when you start showing up of who you are and not what other people say that you should be, right? Then people are going to be more in tune with like, oh gosh, I can't wait to like binge watch on all of her content.
I love that. I'm really glad that you keyed in on that. So in your opinion, what are the biggest misconceptions or myths about keeping up viewer engagement? That's one of the things you can't just make a video and put it online and expect that people are going to see it. How do people keep up viewer engagement? What is the engagement that we should be after? What kind of engagement should we be striving for? And how are you going to talk about this in your talk as well?
Absolutely. I think a lot of marketers, especially in social media, are so caught up in trying to understand the algorithm. When in reality, if you just took time to understand your audience, took time to understand what their learning styles are, how they want to be communicated to, like the power of storytelling, those are things that have been passed on from generations to generations. It's just that the format has changed. And I don't care how many jump cuts, overlays, B-rolls, and all these flashy things and captions you do. If you don't have a compelling message, if you don't know how to take the mess out of your messaging, no one's going to sit there and listen to what it is that you have to say.
Exactly. If there's no meat behind it, none of that flash matters. They'll dash and they're not going to be back.
It's like the fire festival of social media.
Definitely. And no one will ever be back. So, and tell me about why MDMC. So why are you speaking at MDMC?
Oh my gosh, MDMC, I feel like it's the place to be. And I don't mean to rhyme on purpose, but it's just, I remember my very first year when I went, everyone was just so eager to learn and to implement. I got to meet a lot of the graduate students and kind of see how they were running things behind the scene. They're learning like in real time, but they knew that this was the moment to really get to talk to industry marketing leaders. And this time of the year is the perfect of, okay, how is your Q1? How's your Q2 coming along? And I think with the advent of AI and all these other things that are happening, I think it's a good opportunity for us to pause and think to ourselves, okay, what do I need to shift in my strategy? Who's the best person for me to talk to? How do I implement this? And if I want to learn more, then who do I need to meet at this event? I feel like everyone's just like, hey, let's go grab lunch. Let's go grab some coffee. Let's do something. It's the networking is just built in.
Absolutely. MDMC, yes, should be the subtitle.
MDMC, yes.
You talked about some of the bells and whistles. Is there anything that people are doing that they just shouldn't do? Or all the things you talked about, those are all great, but it's got to be what's behind it. Is there anything that they shouldn't do?
First off, don't fake it until you make it, because people can call that real quickly. And I don't care if you batch content, if you're like, oh, I just have to film 30 videos in one single day. It's like, don't do that, because that energy is just going to come off really sideways. And people, like people just aren't, they're going to scroll on. And if I were to say another thing that you shouldn't do when you're filming video is think that you have to wait until you have the best gear, because I think a lot of people aren't realizing that lo-fi content, like content just made from your phone of you walking down the street, you in the car, just having this aha moment, feels much more genuine versus you in a studio in a sound room and like all these all these fancy things. And so I say go for it. Just try it. Oftentimes people are always looking for perfection. It's not about perfection. It's about connection. And the more you practice, the better you get. So whether you're just, you hop on, FaceTime with Bonnie, or, you hop on a Zoom call or whatever it is just keep talking to people and you'll have a great time. It'll be easy.
And clean your screen, right? If you're going to use your phone, clean your screen. Number one. So I heard that you just wrote a book. Tell me about that.
I did, yeah. So my co-author and I, Eric Buta, we just published our second book together. It's The Ultimate Guide to Influencer Marketing. And I'm so excited because it's really there to help small businesses navigate what it's like to work with influencers, things that you should be aware of, how to harness the power of influencers, also how to stay away from those Fire Festival influencers, right? Like, how do you start the conversation? How much do you invest into it? What are the templates that you need to start that conversation? But more importantly, how to get that ROI. Because I feel like some people think that you still need these mega influencers, right? Like these big celebrity endorsements. And then the reality is nano influencers get higher engagement. And there's a lot to be said about having a niche community where if you post something, people come in and they comment and they engage, and you're not constantly having to put like paid media behind a mega influencer's post.
So some of what you're talking about doesn't necessarily have to be a sponsored paid ad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think these days, what's shifting, especially in the influencer marketing, is a lot of brands are looking for long-term relationships with influencers / content creators, however, which way you want to call yourself. And I think a lot of times these mega influencers were so used to getting paid per post. And those of us that have this really niche community that we can lean on and we can talk to and get feedback, I think that's much more impactful to a brand because they'll get their real input, but they know like this is what Bonnie stands for. This is who she is. This is the community that she's cultivated. And when she speaks her truth about X, Y, and Z, people take her seriously because she's not just doing it for the money. This is something that she actually cares about. And I think consumers are also really paying attention to brands and their values. And so when you find influencers that align with you as a brand, yeah, who wouldn't want to have a long-term engagement with that type of creator?
Consumers are smart, and they're not just going to buy something because somebody famous is talking about it. They know that famous person is getting paid for it. A connection with somebody like you're talking about. And the nano influencers, anybody can be one. Everybody probably is one.
Everyone is one. They just don't consider themselves. I was just telling someone, I was like, everyone's an influencer. The second that you wake up and let's say you text your best girlfriend and you're just like, hey, how's your day? You have just influenced her in that, like, you care about her. And we are always influencing people, whether we're consciously or unconsciously aware of it. It's just that oftentimes when they hear the word influencer, they attach it to followers and this and that and all those. No, like, when I was a first-time mom, the mom Facebook groups had a lot of influence on me versus what I would see on commercials, right? I'm like, no, 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 no. You need to tell me how I could put my baby girl to bed at night so I could get a full night's rest. Like I was desperate. And
Right.
the only
Who
way
had
I'd find
time
him.
to watch television and wait for the commercials?
Exactly. I wouldn't want to listen to someone who had never gone through like, who popped out a baby and was just like perfect body. I was like, no, I cannot relate to you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So whether it's Facebook or other groups, those groups where people have things in common where you really do relate to them, like and trust them, those are the ones that can influence. And I always use the example of insurance. How does almost everyone buy insurance? You ask somebody, who's your insurance agent? Okay, I'll call him or her. That's how much research goes into it. And that's influencing, right?
Yeah,
Somebody has now influenced me to call up that insurance agent.
exactly. Yeah, it's fascinating.
So people are, they've got this long list. They want to see all the speakers at MDMC. They want to go see everything and do everything at the best marketing conference there is, bestmarketingconference.com. So what are some takeaways that people are going to get from your talk that you can help influence them right now to go?
Oh, I love that. My piece of advice to you is this: is that if you come to my session, you navigating and networking with people is going to come to you 10 times easier because I'm going to show you the brain hacks on how to get on that fascination fast track, how to easily pique other people's curiosity. And if you're pitching yourself, your business, your product, your service, I'm going to show you the exact formula on how to deliver a spellbinding pitch.
Oh, I love that. Okay. So we're all writing it down. We're all marking it off on our schedules. We're definitely going to go unknown to unforgettable, the art and science to being irresistible on camera. Videos are more engaging, more memorable, more popular. And if nothing else, remember that percentage 82%. 82% of consumer traffic. And if you don't believe it, think about your own habits. What stops your scroll? Probably a video. So thank you so much, Stephanie. I love that we had this talk. And I know that you influenced us today to go and hear your keynote. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'll see you there.
See you there.